Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 9 is now over, but we're just getting started here on Game of Thrones Live on post-show recaps. And now here are the two guys who know you want us on that wall. You need us on that wall. It's Rob Sestrino and my co-host Josh Wigler. Josh, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing rather well. I'm not so craven after all, am I, Rob?
No. Oh, my God, Sam. I don't even recognize you anymore. You're a hero.
I'm a hero. I'm proficient with a crossbow. I get the girl. I'm a regular action star.
Oh, my God. This was like Samwell Tarly fan fiction tonight. Oh, my God, Josh.
Yeah, I know. This was a dream come true for me to watch Sam rise to the occasion and just be a total John McClane out there. I thought was pretty badass. Good night for Sam Tarly.
Sam was a hero, Jon Snow kicked ass, and the wall withstood the night from the Wildlings' multi-pronged attack. They came from the front and the back, and the wall...
Always a good strategy.
Yes, the wall stood, and the Night's Watch prevailed for at least one night on a rather epic Game of Thrones episode here tonight. Of course, we are live here on Sunday night. The episode just ended for us about 25 minutes ago. We've got the chat room going. We've got over 100 people here live with us tonight talking about this episode. People are talking about all sorts of things from the episode in the chat room on post-show recaps. Plus, we've got our hashtag PS Recaps, as well as on our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube, and you can post your comments, and we will answer all of your questions later on in the show, so make sure you get them in, and we'll hit all of them after we get through the episode. But Josh, first off, let me ask you, what was your reaction to tonight's episode, The Battle of the Wall?
Oh, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a ton of fun, very intense, very action-packed. I loved it. I thought it was great. You know, it's hard to have an episode of Game of Thrones that doesn't feature, King's Landing or Daenerys or those characters. Hard to have an episode that doesn't have Tyrion Lannister. I have been kind of on the record about the fact that I don't love Kit Harington as Jon Snow. He's not my favorite character. It's not my favorite performance on the show. But I thought he was really great tonight. But kidding aside, craven jokes aside, I really thought Samwell Tarly brought it tonight. We lost some people along the way. There were some heartbreaks along the way. I thought it was great. I thought it was a very exciting episode of Game of Thrones, and I'm very pumped about where it leaves us off for the finale next week.
Sam might have been MVP tonight.
Might have been.
Yeah.
Show me a little more respect than that.
Could have been MVP.
I've been listening to your podcasts for weeks now, and I've been waiting for you to get to my breakout episode. Might be MVP. Might be.
may just be. All right, so we'll see after it all shakes out, Sam, if we can give you an MVP for tonight. So before we get too far into it, what has been the online reaction to the episode tonight? I enjoyed it. I felt like there was about half an hour where I couldn't catch my breath in the middle. Basically from like 15 minutes in until 45 minutes in. Then I thought the ending, it sort of ended on a bit of a soft note, where sort of like Jon just going off into the other side of the wall, which is certainly dramatic, but not like, some of these big moments that Game of Thrones episodes tend to end on. But what has been, from what you've seen on social media, fans' reaction to this?
I've seen a lot of people who've loved the episode, a lot of people who were as excited about it as I was, a lot of people on the edge of their seats trying to catch their breath like you were, and I think that was a decent amount of the reaction. I think that there are some people who were underwhelmed by it, some people who didn't like it. I think those are kind of the people who were really craving some more King's Landing action. I understand that, especially with the way that the Mountain and the Viper left off. I think it's hard to go from the shock of that moment to basically anything after that. So I think in some way I kind of anticipated that this episode may have disappointed some people on some level. I find it very hard to complain about watching giants riding on mammoths. I think that is pretty hard to say no to.
Yeah, do you think that there's going to be a certain portion of the fan base that's going to be, came in tonight wanting to see what happened with Tyrion after the whole thing with the Mountain and the Viper last week, and then by doing an episode all at the wall, maybe the show is going to be headed into a potentially negative reaction?
I think it leaves it open for some criticism. I think that episode 8 was such a monumental episode for the show, and I think for me, as I've said before on this podcast, in the feedback podcast as well, I was really surprised at the reaction to the Red Viper's demise, which I knew was going to be a shock and was going to be a surprising moment and kind of an exciting talked about moment, but I didn't expect it to kind of be almost a Red Wedding level event, and it really was. I think people really took to the character, but more than that, they took to the character in his final moments, and when his head exploded, everybody's minds exploded at the same time. And so to go from that to go to this week where it's all on the wall, it's away from every other storyline that we've been dealing with. I think even with like the Blackwater episode back in season 2, which is really the only episode that compares to this in not just size and scope, but in focus. It's a really tight, contained episode that doesn't leave a single location. There are so many more familiar players in the Blackwater episode. You've got the Lannister side of things, and you've got Stannis' side of things. So you've got all of these different. You even have like Sansa and Cersei and the Keep. So you've got all of these different players in the Cauldron that you can really follow. And tonight was even more focused than that, I think, because you've got Jon, you've got Sam, and then you've got Ygritte, and you've got a bunch of bit players who we've known for a long time, but maybe don't care about quite in the same way that we would care about even Cersei and Sansa. So I think it's tough to make that adjustment. For me, what I would say is I've long been saying that and I don't think that it should be much of a surprise to say that really as interesting as the political machinations going on in King's Landing are, as fascinating as Littlefinger's plans are, there are monsters north of the Wall, and if that wall fails, if the Night's Watch is not there to protect Westeros from the creatures beyond the Wall, then everything south of the Wall is in deep doo-doo. So it is the stakes are tremendously high with this battle up here, and maybe the characters aren't quite as gripping as they are south of the Wall and out east in Essos, but the stakes that are happening here, the possible consequences of the Wall falling are bigger than anything else that we've seen on the show. So I think for that's really what grips me, and I hope gripped a lot of people tonight.
Okay, so yeah, I wasn't really expecting a polarized reaction, but when I went on Twitter, I think, there seems to be a lot of people, I'm getting people tweeting me saying that they were underwhelmed with the episode, but I, was really that half hour in the middle from when, the attack begins on the Wall was just so action-packed that there wasn't really one moment where it was sort of, just like a lull in the action. It was just nonstop action for a good 30 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is Game of Thrones doesn't do this really, basically ever. It did it with Blackwater. There have been some battles here and there, but few and far between. There's sex and violence on this show all the time, but never at this level, never at this scale. It's not this grand, basically ever. And I think if you have 2 episodes out of, I don't know, it'll be 40 by the end of next week. If you have 2 episodes out of 40 that are just like massive all-out war episodes, I think that you can forgive the lack of King's Landing and the lack of Tyrion and the lack of Daenerys and Arya and the Hound and all of those characters, because it's a special moment, and it's going to be one of those episodes that you're going to want to go back and revisit just for sheer entertainment value. I think. I mean, maybe that's just my sensibilities, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was tons of fun.
All right, let's talk about some of the headlines from this episode. Unfortunately, very sadly, Ygritte. We lose Ygritte, and this was very sad. And it was a product of Chekhov's bow and arrow goes up, and unfortunately, Ygritte goes down. What do you think, Josh? Would Ygritte have let the arrow go? Was she going to kill Jon Snow right there? Did that kid save Jon's life, or was Ygritte and Jon Snow about to, I don't know how in this crazy world, in the middle of this battle, it would have worked out, but were they going to potentially be able to have a moment, or was this no chance ever and she was about to kill him?
Yeah, were they about to reconcile? I don't know. It's an interesting question, and we will never know the answer. And I think that adds to the tragedy here, because you can certainly put your tinfoil hat on and draw up some fanfic where that bow and arrow does not get pulled and Ygritte makes it. And what does she do next? Does she shoot Jon, or do they, drop their weapons and just, go to the cave, so to speak?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's basically, I think that they caught a lucky break there, because even if she doesn't pull shoot Jon with the arrow, somebody's going to kill her. There's no way that Jon can tell everybody basically, okay, she's cool. She's one of the Wildlings. She killed a bunch of guys, but, this is my girlfriend, so she's just with us now.
Well, he could probably throw her in jail. I mean, they ended up throwing Tormund Giantsbane in jail. So, he may have been able to at least give her a stay of execution. Who knows what would have happened? It would have been tricky. It would have been a very challenging situation. But regardless of how it could have shaken out, this is how it did shake out. And yes, we are without Ygritte, and it's very sad. And I think if I have any... And this is obviously, as someone who's read the books, I knew that she was going to be dying here. I knew that this was coming. And one of my complaints about the season that I haven't really been able to air here too much, but I can air it now, is that I feel like we didn't see a lot of Ygritte this season. And I'm kind of disappointed at the lack of screen time that we got for her when this big moment is coming up. And it kind of really requires you to lean on the relationship that the viewer and Jon Snow has created with Ygritte back in season 3 in order to kind of really appreciate and feel the full weight of this moment. I just wish that we had seen her more than, I don't know, I think it had been 2 or 3 episodes other than this, and 2 of those 3 appearances she didn't have dialogue. So it would have been nice to have a little more Ygritte this season. Don't you think so?
I think so. I like Ygritte, but I feel like with the whole Wildling storyline, it was a little one note of what they were up to. So yeah. I don't know how much more you could have gotten of her. I do have to say, Josh, I feel like I want to say I told you so with that Ygritte and Jon Snow. What did I say this whole time about they should have never left that cave? They found the one spot on this show that was good to hang out, and they should have never left that cave.
They should have never left the cave. It was a bad choice.
That was a bad choice. Okay. Any other headlines you want to talk about before we dive into the episode?
I'm sure we're going to get into it. We lost some other people along the way. Pip and Gren, R.I.P. That was very sad. And then I think just sort of the return of Sam the Slayer. Such a badass tonight. I thought was really good. I don't know. There were a lot of great moments this week. Even Janos Slint being a total loser and hiding with Gilly. Alliser Thorne kind of rising up and being a total badass. I thought it was great. There's going to be lots to talk about, so why don't we just dive right in?
Okay, as we go along here, if we miss anything, you can always send us a message for our feedback show. You can send us a message at postshowrecaps.com/feedback or our voicemail inbox at postshowrecaps.com/voicemail. So if there's anything that we miss or anything that we don't cover in the episode, just write it down and get it into us. And of course, you could subscribe for all of our Game of Thrones coverage, which includes the Sunday night recap show, our midweek feedback show, and Josh every week talks to the book readers exclusively in the book show. You could hear all of those podcasts when you subscribe at postshowrecaps.com/GOT iTunes, or click the podcast tab for other ways to subscribe via Android or whatever the hell else you got going on. All right, let's get into it. And so the episode starts with Jon and Sam up on the wall talking about chicks, man.
Just talking about chicks, just bros being bros, dudes being dudes.
Did you find it odd that there's sort of Sam starts off and asks him, what was she like? And Jon's like, she had red hair. And then Sam's like, did she have pretty feet? What's with the foot stuff, Sam?
He's a foot man.
The foot man?
Yeah, he's a foot man. Sam likes feet.
How are Gilly's feet?
Pretty good.
I don't imagine they're that good.
Trust me on this one. They're not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
They're doing a lot of walking, and I don't know what kind of shoes Gilly has.
Strong feet.
Strong feet.
Very strong.
Okay. And Sam is, really wants to know what is it like if you love somebody and have them love you back. So basically,
at this point, he still thinks that Gilly's dead.
Yeah.
He figures that she got wiped out in Molestown, which is very sad.
Yeah, and so Sam is really thinking about the loopholes in the Night's Watch oaths. Doesn't say you can't have intimate activity.
Yeah, that's great. You can't take a wife, you can't father children, but so it's a big gray area with everything else.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Jon is a little down on love. That Sam asks him, "What's it like?" And Jon says that you get wrapped up in another person for a little while. You're more than just you. And what did I get for it? An arrow 6 inches from my heart.
Oh man, that's so poetic.
Yeah.
Emo Jon Snow.
Sam said he's not a poet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know nothing.
All right. So then they send Sam to bed. So basically, just a little, a little bro talk before everything really starts to go crazy. And meanwhile, on the other side of things, Ygritte is like getting, everybody is getting on her case about you better kill Jon Snow.
I know, and she doesn't want anybody else to go near that because she's claimed that. That's claimed.
Yeah. So what does now? What's the name of this then?
Styr.
Okay. So
Styr. Pronounce that however you want.
Styr.
Yeah, Styr.
Okay. So he wants to know how do you say this? He said that when he's looking at her, he wants to know what a nice juicy slice of ginger minge is like.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. How about that?
That's very offensive.
It's fairly offensive.
Whoa.
It's pretty dark.
So he's basically
or red, I guess.
calling her out. What the hell is Tormund Giantsbane talking about?
In which what is he saying?
When he's talking about his sexual conquest.
Yeah, he apparently just loves to have sex with bears.
He's having sex with bears?
Yeah, man, that's how you do it north of the wall.
Really? I don't know.
These are the free folk, dude. They just roll how they want to roll.
Tormund Giantsbane has to have sex with bears, but there's not 1,000 guys lining up for Ygritte, and Jon Snow can just sort of walk in and be her new boyfriend. How's she not taken?
She's not bear-like enough.
Tormund Giantsbane is hooking up with a bear, and Ygritte is single.
Yeah.
Wild.
I'm having trouble not. I don't understand what you don't get about that.
Yeah. Okay. It was a girl bear, right?
I think so.
I don't know. All right.
Also worth noting that once again, Ygritte reiterates her plan to cut off Jon Snow's penis and wear it as a necklace.
Yeah. So she would like to see Jon Snow with just stones and no pillar.
No pillar. She wants the pillar as her new necklace. This is something she's been talking about for a while, so it's really on the mind.
For a while, it's really been she's got one-track mind.
Yeah, early season 3, so it's been a while.
Yeah, and basically the whole first 15 minutes of the episode is just everybody talking about sex and everybody talking about their past conquests. And I guess as we found out, nothing makes the past a sweeter place than imminent death around the corner.
Yeah, talking about swords and sheaths of a different color before we get into the battle.
All right, so here's Maester Aemon, and do we presume Maester Aemon made it through the battle? Okay, we don't see him again.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they didn't show any Maester Aemon at all throughout the battle, but I feel like if anything had happened to him, they would have shown it.
Okay. Now, Josh, was this a particularly important thing that Maester Aemon is telling us about? Basically, he drops he finds Sam in the library and he calls Sam out that, you're here. I knew it was you because you're burning the candles, and I told Jon Snow loves the death of duty. So he basically gives him a little bit of do you know who I am? Do you know what I could have done if I would have said the word? So is this a important piece of business here with Maester Aemon that I'm not savvy to?
I think it's just a reminder that we got this revelation back in season 1 that Maester Aemon is a Targaryen.
Right.
He was once in line to be king of the Seven Kingdoms. He was a maester at the time. He was next in the line of succession because older brothers, his father had passed away, and he was one of 4 children. I believe he was the third of 4, and he was a maester already at this time. And if he had just said the word, he could have been king. But he had already done all of his studying at the Citadel. He had devoted his life to becoming a maester and being helpful to the realm in that way. So he dropped out of it, and his younger brother, Aegon, became the king of Westeros. And rather than stick around and possibly be used as a political pawn to influence his younger brother, because there were a lot of people who were being very shisty at that point in history, he decided to go to the wall and remove himself from the situation, and that's where he's been ever since. So he's the kind of guy who has made a major, potentially a major personal sacrifice in his life. It doesn't sound like he loses too much sleep over it, but I think he's basically he's basically humble bragging to Sam. He's like, yeah, you can read because you can see, and I can't see, but I could have been the king, buddy. Listen here, Sonny.
This woman, she's not a particularly important person. That it's not anybody that we know who she is.
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, she's more real than Sam is, which is that's a good deal.
Yeah, I think everybody is just trying to, there's love in the air in this episode. As much as there's blood and fire and smoke in the air, there's also some love.
Okay. All right. So then we had we go back to we see Gilly, or who earlier was we saw her sort of in the background, like running past the Wildlings. Did you feel like the Wildlings were sort of asleep at the switch there? You feel like she was, making a little bit of noise?
I thought that scene was shot very strangely. When the first time you see just like Gilly in the hood running in sort of the mountainscape, I thought was a little bizarre.
Okay, so Gilly,
but yeah, they maybe should have been a little wiser to that.
Okay, so Gilly is at the gate, and Sam has to swear to get them to open the gate now.
Yeah, this is a night of firsts for Sam, dropping F-bombs, just really gunning it. He's out there. It's a great night for Sam.
So good for Sam that he is basically able to be a shot caller. Say what did he say?
To Gilly or to Pip?
That went to get him to open the door.
I forget what he said. He was just like, open the effing door.
Yeah, and like, oh man, I never heard you swear before.
Yeah, get used to it. This is the new Sam.
This is a whole new Sam.
Or don't get used to it because Pip died like 5 seconds later.
Yeah, but it was sad. It was sad. But he gets him in, and he's like, oh my God, Gilly's like, oh, it's horrible, and he's like, from now on, wherever you go, I'm gonna go too. So, good for Sam and Gilly.
Great for Sam and Gilly.
Yeah. So then basically the guys up on the wall, they start blowing the horn, and this is where things are starting to get a little crazy. So what did the Wildlings do here? There's like a whole big fire that the Wildlings set the forest on fire?
Yeah, the biggest fire the North has ever seen.
Okay. Why?
To send the signal. It's go time.
Okay. So
announcing themselves.
So basically, they set the fire on the north side of the wall to let the attackers on the south side of the wall know that it was time to go?
Yeah, and it's their signal. And I think at this point they are, you get a taste of it at the end of the episode when Jon says, Mance was testing our defenses. That we survived the night. Maybe we'll survive tonight. Maybe we'll survive tomorrow. But he's toying with us, and there's no way we can outlast this. So I think, even if it's a signal fire to the people south of the wall, perhaps, but also I think it's announcing themselves because they can. They don't have much to lose. This is going to be a pretty easy one for them to win. Yeah.
All right, so the Wildlings, they got this big fire going. Everybody's up on top of the wall. They're loading up these barrels, and kind of a cool scene with Alliser, Thorne, and Jon Snow.
Yeah, Alliser, Thorne basically, say it. Just say it. Get it out. Yeah. Let it out.
Yeah, I told you so. I told you so. I told you, Snow.
I told you, Snow.
That's right. But we've been saying all season where I guess hindsight is 20/20 with this stuff, but it really was frustrating that they would not listen to Jon here about this. He had a good plan, and nobody wanted to listen to him.
Yeah, I think at the very least, I'm glad that Alliser Thorne was like, yeah, I'm a dick. Sorry, screwed that one up.
And he says, hey, look, after this, let's go back to you can hate me all you want, and I'll keep wishing you were dead. Let's just get through this.
Right. I loved that. I thought that was very fun.
Yeah. Okay. So now I know Alliser Thorne. He ends up in the big battle. Are we to presume that he's dead, or is he okay?
I feel like we didn't get a definitive death on him.
Okay. All right. We need to see the body.
He was certainly injured. It didn't look fantastic.
I feel like if in Game of Thrones, if they don't give the character a good death scene, then I feel like then we should presume they are alive.
Yeah, I feel like you need to see the dead body.
Yeah.
If you don't see the dead body, you're probably still alive.
Okay. So Sam ends up opening like a meat locker and throws Gilly in there, like in the pantry.
Yeah. And then he leaves her there. Whatever happened to wherever you go, I go?
Yeah, well, he's like, I didn't know the same room. It was a funny line.
Yeah.
And so he has to go help his brothers, but not before he plants one on Gilly. How about that?
Yeah, some sweet MO action.
Yeah, that
it.
was pretty good, Sam.
I got
Love
to
this new Sam.
I got to first base.
First base. He's in the books.
I'm on base.
He's on base. So then Gilly tells Sam, "Promise me you won't die." And I'm writing in my notes, ooh, that's not a good sign.
Did you think at that point that was it for Sam?
Yeah, because I saw last week somebody asked somebody to make them a promise they weren't going to die, and 5 minutes later that guy's brain was exploded.
Yeah, the Magnar of Then just plucks Sam's eyeballs out and pops his head in his hands 5 minutes later. Yeah, that could have happened.
Basically, after that kiss, Sam is really a new man. He's like on cloud 9 because Pip is very scared.
Yeah, Pip is so craven.
Yeah, he's the one that's craven.
Sam's so brazen. He's got it. He's evolved. He's digivolved.
Yeah, and so they have a conversation of like, hey, if you're afraid of wildlings, how'd you kill a White Walker? And Sam talks about that. Well, I wasn't Sam then. I was nothing at all. There was no Dana at that point. It was only Zool.
Yeah.
And so when you're nothing at all, there's no reason to be afraid. I'm nothing. I'm not nothing at all. Now we go back to this whole thing about nothing versus something. Now Arya talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Am I reading too much into some sort of idea about being nothing in Game of Thrones?
Yeah. What does she say? She says nothing is worse than nothing. It's just nothing. Yeah, I think that there's something to that. That the people who seem to survive this world are the ones who realize that it's so fleeting, and that it's an evolving, ever shifting world. And I think Sam in this moment is starting to get on board with that a little bit.
By the way, Wheezy8181 in the chat room says, the minute a woman says I can't leave the room equals upgraded to stage 5 clinger status. Is Gilly a clinger?
I don't think that she's going to be too eager to leave Sam ever again after everything she's been through.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think she's going to be clinging pretty hard. But I think that Sam is like a level 5 clingy. I think that he is...
Klingon?
Yeah, a Klingon. I think the two of them together. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then once Ygritte spots Sam, which I guess he's the easiest of the Night's Watchmen to spot, then it's on. And then let's go kill some crow. And the attack is on at least from the front side, and then the guys on the back side, they start moving in as well.
So when this starts going down, and you have this line where Sam tells Gilly, "I promise you I'll never die," straight out of Team America. What did you think of Sam? You think Sam's probably toast at that point. How do you think he's going to go? Do you think someone like Ygritte is going to kill him and have that be something that kind of ups the stakes for Jon Snow, or were you not even theorizing at that point?
I wasn't thinking how, but I definitely felt like Sam was going to die at that point. I said, oh, Sam has been getting, it's like going back to, like a Survivor episode where it's like, oh, Sam's getting a lot of screen time here. And I feel like that this is going to be the death edit for Sam tonight.
Trick of the editing, man.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So we have basically everything is starting to break loose now. So basically all of Tormund, Giantsbane, and all these guys, they are making their move. And basically after one more speech to get pumped up from Alliser Thorne, that 100 generations had defended this wall tonight, and do you want to fill the belly of a Then? So I was pretty pumped up. This was sort of like Independence Day at this moment. Yeah,
this was his Bill Pullman moment for sure. Yeah. Again, excellent episode for Alliser Thorne. Who thought that he had it in him after all of the nonsense we've seen him put the other Night's Watchmen through in the past? I thought this was a great episode for him.
He had a great night. He was a real badass tonight.
Yeah, he was awesome. He was really cool.
And it was a real, we shall not go quietly into the night. We shall.
Yeah.
Oh, was it the 4th of July on this day also?
Yeah, maybe there were fireworks.
A lot of fireworks. Okay.
It was like his it's like the George Mason arc in season 2 of 24. He gets radioactive poisoning and stops being a jerk and becomes a badass, and that's basically what happens here. He realizes Alliser Thorne realizes he's screwed up. The Wildlings are coming, and it's all his fault that he didn't listen to Jon Snow. So now it's time to nut up and be awesome. So there you go. It's great.
Well, he was awesome tonight. All right,
really
so now up on top of the wall was the opposite of awesome. As now this guy, what Janos? Am I pronouncing this right?
Janos Slint.
Janos.
Yeah.
That he's being a real slint up on top of the wall.
A real lame-o slint.
Because they're like, hey, should we do something? He's like, oh, let's slow down here. And they're like, well, they've got giants. He's like, no such thing as giants. Pretty sure that's a story. No, they don't have giants. Could you not see the giants from this point?
This episode reminded me. Did you watch Band of Brothers at all?
No, I did not.
Band of Brothers is great. This really reminded me of just the stakes and losing people so suddenly, like losing Pip and losing Gren. It really felt like a Band of Brothers episode, and the Janos Slint stuff really felt like the Bastone episodes that they did in Band of Brothers, where they have this kind of cowardly captain at the head of Easy Company who is he's just terrible, and he's in charge, but no one understands why. It's just because he's got rank and he's going to lead everybody to their deaths, and that's basically what Janos Slint is doing here all night long until Gren comes, he cooks up some lie to just like pull him from the wall, and Jon Snow steps up and just rocks it. I thought it was fantastic.
It's really great moment where he's like, oh yeah, they just called, they need you downstairs. It's like, oh, okay, well, I gotta go.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, so he's gonna go down the elevator. You would think that all the people that go up and down the elevator, you would think they'd be a pretty easy mark for some of the wildling archers, but apparently
you would think so.
Nobody gets hit in the elevator.
Not even really taking any shots in the elevator.
Yeah, if I was in the elevator, I'd be like laying down on the ground the whole time. I feel like that's just like standing there, like do.
Yeah.
Oh boy, this elevator is slow.
I would be doing a crouch. I would be,
Yeah, hiding in the back or whatever.
Hiding in the corner, yeah.
Okay, so but this was really amazing. So not only do the Wildlings have giants, they also have giants with bows and arrows.
That was awesome. I believe your buddy Stephen Fishback online was pretty pumped about that.
What did he say?
I think he was the one who said he wants a Game of Thrones spin-off that features nothing but giants on mammoths with giant bows and arrows.
Yeah, but if it's nothing but giants on mammoths with giant bows and arrows, isn't it just going to be the same as a normal size Game of Thrones with worse dialogue?
Yeah, but giants with bows and arrows.
But if everything is giant, then nothing is giant.
Oh my God, you just blew my mind.
Unless are we seeing it from the perspective of one person who's a regular sized person?
That would be pretty boring, actually.
Okay, but the giant with the bow and arrow, boy, that guy that got hit
cool.
that got hit with the giant bow and arrow and then went all the way over the wall. Yeah. That was pretty amazing. I put exclamation points in my notes at that point.
That was fantastic. I was happy about that.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then the Thens are just killing everybody. I will say it was a little hard for me to follow who was who in some of the battles. Like it was dark, and then basically like I was like watching people just kill each other, and then I was like, oh wait, was that a good guy or that a bad guy? Did you struggle with that at all?
Only when it was between characters that I didn't know. The most confused I was at any point in the episode in terms of not knowing who was when that one Then rushes at Sam and he loads the crossbow and murks him in the face. I thought that was the big one. I thought that was the Magnar of Then. And then obviously when that guy starts fighting Jon, I was like, oh, okay, I guess he's still alive right now.
Yeah, all the Thens sort of look alike, and then it's sort of like kind of dark. But there were so many like big shots of like just moving from one thing to another, where it was really, really all those fight scenes were so amazing in the episode. I really appreciated all of the battle at the wall.
Hats off to Neil Marshall, the guy who directed this episode. He's the guy who directed Blackwater. If Game of Thrones has a giant battle to pull off, call Neil Marshall. He'll come in and he will do a kick-ass job, as he did in Blackwater and as he did tonight. I think the action did not disappoint tonight. Especially there was that one shot where it was basically just one continuous shot. Not quite the True Detective 5-minute unbroken shot, but it was a pretty epic just glimpse of everything that was happening at Castle Black. I think it had to have lasted a minute long. It was a really, and it's just like showing what's happening with Sam, and then it shows Tormund Giantsbane fighting a bunch of people. It was so cool. It was really well done.
Okay, so how badly did you want to see Slint get killed at this next part when he's sort of like walking around looking for a place to hide?
Yeah, he's like Burke from Aliens in that scene where he's just like running away from the madness, and I thought that he was gonna round a corner and like smack dab into the chest of a Thenn. I really thought that he was just gonna get his head eaten off, but no, they didn't go there, which would have been fun. But I'm glad. I think that I think there's value in having a coward like him kind of be like known to us now for what he truly is. Not that I don't think we didn't realize that this guy was a bit of a weenus, but I think now that it's so clear that he's such a weenus, I think it's good to have that character in the mix. So ultimately, I'm glad he's still around.
I was bummed out. I really wanted to see him down.
It would have been a good moment.
Yeah. All right. So basically, Sam has a very funny scene with Pip right before Pip dies, and so Pip is like, Sam keeps loading up the crossbow, like, all right, keep going, keep going. He's like, oh, I got one, and Sam, maybe the funniest thing Sam's ever said. He's like, oh, is it over then? Really, I loved Sam so much in this episode. Where's this Sam been?
I don't know. I needed my moment. This was it. I've been waiting for this. A moment like this. Some people wait a lifetime. I had to wait three and a half seasons.
Is that Tarly Clarkson?
Yeah, very good singer in Westeros. Very popular.
My God. Yeah. So then, unfortunately, Ygritte gets Pip, and looks like a very painful way to go.
Very sad. I was very, very sad about that.
Yeah.
Hard to lose Pip. He was, another one of those characters who you don't think about much, probably doesn't make your top 10 favorite characters list, but can't say a bad word about the guy, and hard to lose him here. But I think important for the episode that we lost some people that we liked. I think if we hadn't lost people that we cared about, I think it wouldn't have mattered as much. So it kind of has to happen.
R.I.P. P.I.P.
Yes.
Sad. Okay, so then basically we start getting some barrels dropping up on top of the wall. Get some Donkey Kong action up on the wall. So earlier in the episode, they dropped some barrels. So the barrels are sort of like filled with sort of like gunpowder or whatever. They're sort of like bombs, and they sort of like dropped some by accident early in the episode. Was that what happened?
Yeah, they dropped one by accident, and then another guy, I think it leaked by accident.
Yeah,
that was bad.
That was bad.
That wasn't good.
Yeah, that was also one of the holy S moments of the episode when the barrel goes off on top of the wall. In a couple of minutes, we're not up to that quite yet.
Right.
So then here we have Tormund versus Thorne. This was a really big battle that happened. I was very pumped up for this mano-a-mano battle between the two leaders.
It was a cool fight. I really liked that. I think that was one of the highlights of the episode in terms of the action department. And I was a big fan. I love Tormund Giantsbane. I think he's an awesome character. Alliser Thorne's starting to grow on me after tonight, so it was cool to see those two go at it. Did you have a dog in that fight? Did you think that one was going to pull head over the other?
I was rooting for Thorne at that point.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so then he sort of gets cut in the leg and then sort of like rolls over, and then guys like pull him like underneath the stage. So I think we think he's going to be okay.
We think he's going to be okay.
He might lose the leg. Could lose the leg.
That's the last we saw of him, which means, maybe he dies tomorrow. He doesn't die tonight.
Okay. So then we have Sam. Again, another huge moment for Sam. One of the Thenns starts coming for Sam. Now, was that then running after Sam because he's a cannibal and Sam is the heartiest meal of anybody on the Night's Watch? Was that what they were going for?
Yeah. Claimed! Claimed! That one!
So he's going for him, and Sam loads all that practice loading up the crossbow. Boom! Right between the eyes.
Yeah.
Joffrey would have been so proud.
Joffrey would have loved that.
Yeah, and so Sam is like, after that, Sam's like, we need Jon down here.
Yeah. All right, I've done enough.
We did enough. Yeah, it tells the kid, get me up to the top. Get me up to the top. How does that elevator work? Does that kid have to, like, pull the pulleys, or he just, like, flips the switch and the thing is automatic?
I don't know. I'd like to see the schematics on that thing, because if it is up to that kid to just be cranking that thing, that would be a difficult enough job on his own. But with poor Sam in the elevator would be really a
especially
tall
on the way going up. Coming down, probably not as tough.
Yeah,
but
just kind of let her ride. Just let it go. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, and Sam is like now all of a sudden he's got like such big he kisses one woman and all of a sudden such huge balls on Sam. He tells the kid like, hey, pick up that thing. Get the fighting now.
Yeah, listen, he knows what's up. It's do or die time, and he's not gonna die tonight if he can help it.
Yeah. Okay. So then Sam's going up there and basically drop in some more barrels, and now they've got like basically like the thing to shoot a spear. They hit one of the giants with that thing. They take out one of the guys up on the wall, takes out a giant.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then the other giant was pissed off.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. They should have been shooting more harpoons out of that thing. That was a good weapon.
That was a great weapon.
I don't know why they didn't do more of that.
It was pretty awesome.
But unfortunately, this is then when one of the barrels explodes up on top of the wall. That was a low moment for the guys up on the wall.
Yeah, the plan is backfiring. It's blowing up in their face.
Yeah. And so Sam basically goes up and tells Jon Snow, hey, the castle's not going to stand much longer. And so, they send 6 guys also against the giant that has opened up the gate. Now, far be it from me to question the wisdom of a giant, but I feel like the move should have been the giant should have like propped that door open, and they should have sent more giants in instead of just one guy going in alone.
The giant was. First off, these giants are not the brightest creatures around.
No.
And secondly, this giant just watched his giant buddy get speared through the chest, so I think he was just more than anything just pissed off.
How many giants were there total?
I don't know. I didn't keep track. I think there were a few. There were a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so they're going to go and basically the giant is going to take on 6 guys, and these guys are taking the Night's Watch oath and reciting it as they get ready for the basically it was like when they were playing music on the Titanic.
Right, exactly. Yeah. They're oathing to their deaths.
But I kept saying, maybe shoot some arrows at the giant while you're standing there. I feel like they could have had, a few minutes to get some shots off on him. Maybe you get him in the eye. I feel like they could have slowed him down a little bit.
Yeah, I kept thinking, as Gren is looking at that one cowardly guy and kind of trying to pump him up, and the giant is just barreling towards the gate. I'm like, Gren, get ready, dude. This guy's close.
Yeah. And somehow they did it. They all died in the process, but they did take out the giant.
Yeah, that was I liked that kind of morning after image afterwards. Just seeing like kind of that whole landscape of what that battle must have been like. I would have loved to have seen it, but I think also there's something powerful about seeing the aftermath. I thought was pretty good.
All right, so Jon and Sam, they have a little bit of one more bromance, and Jon tells Sam to stay behind. Don't do anything too crazy.
Yeah, because he needs him.
We need you. And so Jon Snow goes off, and boy, Jon Snow was really such a badass in this scene. I mean, we have not gotten really to see Jon Snow do too much through 4 seasons of the show. He's been a lot of brooding. There's been, a little bit of fighting. We saw him in the battle up at Craster's Keep earlier this season, but this was far and away, the most action Jon Snow has seen in 4 seasons of the show.
Yeah, Jon Snow is my favorite character in the books. Number one for me. And on the show, not so much. I'm not a big fan of Kit Harington's performance. Tonight, I really liked him, and I really liked him once he kind of hits the ground running at Castle Black. That was the Jon Snow of the books for me. That's the guy who's a confident, non-brooding badass who just, it's time to go to work, time to get this done, time to be a hero, and he rocks out with his long claw out, and it was very cool. It was very cool to see him like that.
Has Jon Snow redeemed himself, in your opinion?
He's never gonna be my favorite character in the show, but he was very, very cool tonight.
Yeah, so he's just killing, wildlings left and right. And so Sam goes and frees Ghost. And what do you think of the Ghost cam? You like some Ghost POV?
Yeah, big fan of Ghost cam. I think we need more Ghost cam. I thought that was great.
Okay.
It
All
was
right.
good to get Ghost in the action. I thought that was lovely.
So this leads to Jon's big battle against the Steer? Stir?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, this is a huge battle, and this guy is huge, and he's swinging a battle axe, and Jon is, holding his own, but he's a little outmatched here.
He's a little outmatched, but in the end, he gets him with a hammer of all things.
Oh my God, yeah. Basically, but then the guy takes Jon Snow's head and bangs it into an anvil.
Yeah, it's
Oh
pretty
my God.
painful.
That's gotta hurt.
Who do you have in the fight between the Magnar of Thenn, between Steer the Magnar of Thenn and the Mountain that rides? Who wins that one?
Between the mountain and the Steer, I would say give me the mountain, because I've seen the mountain, explode a person's head with his hands. I haven't seen.
And this guy couldn't even crush Jon Snow's head on an anvil. You'd think that would probably be a thing he could pull off.
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think that the mountain could pop this guy's head off? Tall order.
So that's a tall order. That's a tall order. How about Prince Oberyn? Okay, give me the Red Viper versus Steer the Thenn.
Ooh, probably. I'm gonna give that to Red Viper.
Okay.
If Jon Snow can kill this guy, I think the Red Viper could kill this guy.
All right, and we know what Jon Snow versus the Red Viper.
I give that to the Red Viper.
Oh my God. Okay, so Jon Snow's. But then Steer is fourth in those power rankings.
Yeah, I guess so.
There you go. All right. So then, after Jon puts the hammer in this guy's head, here comes Ygritte around the corner. She's got the arrow pulled, and as she said in the beginning of the episode, she says, "As soon as I see him, hey, nobody killed Jon Snow. He's mine." Now, did Steer know that was Jon Snow?
I don't think that he did.
I feel like he acted like he did know, but I'm saying there's no way that he could know who Jon Snow is other than oh yeah, he's the leader of the Crows.
Yeah, he's the one with the really good hair.
He's got a sword that has a bear on it.
He's just really attractive. Kind of has a dumb face, but it doesn't matter because his body's so good. Yeah. I'm just being objective. I'm just observing. I'm just observing.
So here comes Ygritte, and she hesitates. And she's standing there, and she can't pull the thing. And then it looks like they're gonna have a moment, but then here comes the kid. Do we know the kid's name?
Oliver.
Oliver. So
or
Oliver.
Ollie.
Yeah, Oliver comes around and shoots Ygritte. A little bit of redemption for the kid who the Wildlings killed his mama and his papa, and then they presumably were eaten. And so.
Yeah, and there's some irony to that, because the first thing that we see during that raid on the village is Ygritte shooting his mother or his father with the arrow, and so to kind of have that be paid forward, I thought was some nice little irony there. But yeah, and I also love how he gave him how Ollie gives Jon Snow the Steve Buscemi from Billy Madison nod after he assassinates Ygritte, just gives him the nod, and it's this one little throwaway badass moment.
What do you think Jon's reaction to the kid doing? Do you think Jon was happy that the kid did it, or was he annoyed?
I don't think he was annoyed. I think it's a bittersweet thing. I think Jon knows the score at this point. He gets what was going on here.
Okay, so
it's kill or be killed at this point.
let's talk about the final moments here with Ygritte and Jon. And so Jon runs over and holds her, and she says, you remember that cave? We should have stayed in that cave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Jon will have memories of that cave to last a lifetime.
That's right. And then Jon says, hey, we'll go back there.
Lies.
There's a lot of that going around.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
And then we get perfect. She ends on "You know nothing, Jon Snow."
Good final words.
Yeah, very good final words. So, is that what she says in the book? Is that her final words there?
I'm going to be rereading the chapter tonight for some articles that I have to do tomorrow. I believe that is the case,
Okay.
but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, you got to go out on your catchphrase if you can.
If you can do it.
Yeah, that is the move. So, did you think that Jon Snow hung out with Ygritte's body for too long there?
Yeah, when that scene was happening, he was kind of cradling her in his arms, and like the battle is raging all around them. I was thinking two thoughts. One, drop the body and get back to work because this is not over yet and you need to focus up or you're going to get stabbed. And two, the other thing I was thinking was, I think Rob is probably thinking this exact same thing we're probably going to talk about on the podcast tonight.
It was a little bit, I'm all for, you want to, take the moment, but I think there's time enough for counting when the dealing's done. I think you got to, just get out of there. You are in big trouble, Jon Snow. You really lucked out there.
Yeah, big time.
Okay. So now the Night's Watch that are up on the top of the wall, they end up cutting loose. What is this, an anchor that they have tied into the ice?
Yeah, I believe they called it the Scythe.
The Scythe?
Yeah.
This was a pretty smart idea to put that up there. Has that been there since the beginning?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's like one of the secret weapons.
Yeah, but that was pretty good. That's like the wall's like the Batcave.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That was pretty good.
I don't think it has a Tyrannosaurus Rex hiding in the basement anywhere, but that would be pretty awesome as well.
That would be pretty awesome. Did you like that guy's hand that just got sliced off?
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Oh my God!
It's the little things that please me like that, Rob.
It's the little things. And so basically, after that, then we still have like a bunch of people on the other side of the wall, but that's basically the worst is over for the people on at Castle Black.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you feel like the momentum turned very quickly from when Sam goes up to the top of the wall and says, "Hey, Castle's not going to stand much longer," to when Jon Snow comes down? Did you feel like did that seem plausible that the momentum shifted that fast?
I think once Jon Snow takes care of the Magnerf, then once Tormund is riddled with so many arrows, and once their best sharpshooter in Ygritte is taken out of the picture, I think you get rid of like those three sub bosses, and the rest of the goons are gonna fall.
Yeah, and then you had Ghost also making a big difference. Not sure why they waited so long into the fight to let Ghost loose.
Should have done that earlier.
That's on Jon Snow, I think.
I think that's on Jon Snow.
I think that's on Jon Snow. So,
frankly, Jon had a lot on his mind. He was commanding the wall. He didn't quite think to bust out Ghost just yet. He had a lot on his plate as well. But once he had that idea, I think that was good. That was a good call.
So basically, by the time morning comes, here's Tormund, and Jon's like, "It's over. It's over. Give up." And Tormund Giantsbane wants to still fight, and Jon says, "Put him in chains. We're gonna interrogate him." Is that necessary? Do you need to interrogate Tormund Giantsbane? Does he have any information?
I guess you just want to be sure. Cover your bases.
Yeah.
What would Jack Bauer do?
I think Jack Bauer might just kill him.
Really, you think he wouldn't pull any fingernails and teeth and electrocute him a couple of times?
If he felt like Tormund Giantsbane had like a critical piece of information, but again, I'm not sure what Tormund Giantsbane knows.
He's one of Mance Rayder's top guys. Okay. You never know.
Right. I guess there's no need to kill him right away. You could
need to kill him right away. You can kill him tomorrow.
Kill him tomorrow.
Are you happy that he's alive?
I'm a little indifferent. I'm
Yep.
not as big of a Tormund Giantsbane guy as you are.
I like him. He's great.
Okay. So he says, "Oh, we should."
Curious choice, curious taste in sexual partners, but aside
Yeah.
from that,
Now, if he's gonna have sex with a bear in a future episode, now I'm all. Let's keep him alive.
do you think like the bear, like Jorah Mormont? Do you think that's what's up next for
Like he's
Jorah?
gonna go to Bear Island. Oh,
Yeah.
well, Jorah is, he's
He's
single
a
right now.
free agent right now. Yeah.
Okay. And he basically says, John, did he say we should have thrown you off the top of the wall, or we're gonna throw you off the top of the wall?
I think should have.
Should have. Yeah. Could have. Should have. Would have.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, yeah, that was a big mistake on the Wildlings' part to buy Jon Snow's very fishy story in season 3.
Yeah, the whole Jon Snow thing, they should have just iced him right away.
Yeah, they got to be really kicking themselves for, not just, murdering Jon Snow as soon as he walked into the Wildling camp.
Yeah, that was a bad call. Very bad call.
They sort of like said, hey, if you pull anything, we're going to kill you. And they really didn't, and they probably should have.
Yeah.
Okay, so we end here now with Jon and Sam sort of talking about what they're going to do next. And Jon says, hey, I got to go find Mance. And Sam is basically, hey, if he finds you, what is he going to do, Josh?
He's going to kill you.
He's going to do all sorts of bad things.
He's gonna flay you.
Yeah. And Jon says, all right, Sam, you're right. This is a bad plan. What's your plan? See what he did?
Yeah, it turned around.
I guess I don't have a plan.
Yeah, that's, so...
We could hide in the meat locker together. Gilly's down there.
So they just let Jon Snow out, and Jon is just going to go on foot to Mance Rayder? I mean, yeah.
Without a sword on top of it.
Without a horse, without anything. This is a bad plan. I got to side with Sam here. It's like, maybe it's the only plan we have right now, but it still doesn't mean we should do it.
It's a suicide play.
Yeah. This is not, like, what happened to the rest of the Wildling forces? They all just ran home?
Yeah, they ran home with their tails between their legs. They're resting up for the next night. Round 2.
I guess so. But boy, this was not such a hot idea, I don't think, on Jon Snow. Now, I was actually...
At this point, you got to figure that the Wildlings probably aren't going to make the same mistake twice with Jon Snow. He walks into that camp, he's not going to be a welcome guest.
No, I don't think so. And I don't know, maybe he's going to say, hey, I'm unarmed. Maybe he'll say, hey, I quit the Night's Watch again. I quit for this. I did it for real this time. I'm really upset. I'm really disgruntled.
I guess in theory they don't know that he betrayed them.
I guess not. I guess he could say like, "Oh man, we were at Castle Black, and oh man, all our Wildlings guys got killed, but then they found out that I was working with you guys, so they kicked me out again. So I'm back."
It was so crazy, man.
Okay, so that would be that. Hey, that's actually the smartest plan we've heard so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was actually surprised because in the previews for next week they showed Jon Snow again. I thought this was gonna be all we were gonna see for Jon Snow here in season 4, and because we have so much else to do in King's Landing, I kind of thought between King's Landing and Daenerys and everything else that's going on, and Stannis and all these other people, I felt like, okay, we'll spend an hour with Jon Snow and then that'll be it for season 4. But more Jon Snow next week too.
Sounds like it's going to be a giant-sized episode next week.
Oh my God! Yes,
maybe with actual giants.
And so, yeah, this has been confirmed now. We're looking at like how long of an episode next week?
I think I've seen 70, 75 minutes, so an extra 10 to 15 minutes next week.
Oh my God! We talked about it last week. Episode 9 is the big, sort of gut punch episode of the season, big moment of the season. Where did this episode 9 rank for you with the other 3 episode 9s?
I think you got to go Red Wedding 1, Ned Stark 2, and then, I don't know, I love Blackwater and I love this. I feel like the big battles, they don't have the emotional weight that, the big sucker punches like losing Ned Stark and losing Robb and Catelyn Stark had. So for me, I'm still too close to the Watchers on the Wall to say if this was better than Blackwater. talk to me midweek. Maybe I'll have an actual answer for you.
Yeah, I think you probably have to put it 4 out of those, but it doesn't mean it's bad. I just
Yeah.
feel like those other 3 episode 9s are probably in the top 5 episodes of the series, and I
Yeah.
don't know if this was a top 5 episode of Game of Thrones tonight. It was a great episode, but I don't know if it was top 5.
Yeah, I would say last week's episode, episode 8, was really kind of like that episode 9 level event of the shock value, and I think that really stands pretty strong. I would call that a top 10 episode of the show.
All right, let's get to questions here, and of course these questions come to us from you guys. Scott St. Pierre has filtered them all out. That we have made sure that they are have no spoilers, and we are ready to go here on Game of Thrones Live. And of course, the YouTube comments are open right now. Once the show ends, they will have to be approved, and Josh Wigler is approving your comments on YouTube, and that he is ruling with an iron fist on YouTube.
I've got the ban hammer. If you're not playing by the rules, you're toast.
Yeah, be cool, everybody. Be cool, everybody on YouTube. Okay.
Be cool.
Here we go. Sinfire. Let's start it off. That was awesome. Most expensive episode to make yet and worth every penny. Is this true? Have we audited this?
I don't know if we've audited this. I gotta imagine it's true. That was a freaking huge episode.
We didn't borrow money from the Iron Bank of Bravos to make this episode, did we?
If we did, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I think HBO could pay it back.
Okay, yeah. Basically, if Westeros had all the HBO subscribers, they'd be doing good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go to Slow King, who said, who do you guys think Maester Aemon was talking about? I think Cersei. Whoa.
Whoa. Are you calling Cersei old?
Yeah, boy. Do you think Maester Aemon and Cersei could have got it on? I mean, that was, she would have been really young.
And maybe that's why he had to take the black. Maybe that's why he had to go to the wall.
Okay. I don't think it was Cersei.
Crossing some boundaries. I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I don't know that it matters too much.
Lady J says, would Ygritte really have shot Jon if she wasn't shot first? Boy,
what do you think about that, Rob? Because I think my heart of hearts tells me yes, she would have done it.
I think she would have too. I think so. Maybe not the fatal wound, sort of like a thing like last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jon Snow's skills in that cave really saved his butt a couple times here.
Yeah, I think so.
He's willing to do some things that no other wildling was willing to do, and it saved his butt.
Yeah, I just thought it was great, and this kid really saved his neck. And it's sad to lose Ygritte, but at least we still got Jon Snow.
We still got him. We got him. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. This is from Carl S. And Carl wants to know, do you think we saw enough giants and woolly mammoths? I love the kick-ass Jon Snow. Wish we could have seen more of that. What do you two think was missing from the episode? Do you think anything was missing, Josh?
Do I think anything was missing? I don't know. I don't think so. I thought that this was yes, I would have liked to have seen Mance Rayder.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen Mance Rayder in some capacity. He's another one of those characters who I absolutely love in the books. His first scene is one of my favorite scenes in this entire story. I think that he's such a colorful, fun, exciting character. And I don't think that they've done justice with him on the show. And
he has not been very colorful on the show.
He's not been very colorful on the show. He's been largely absent from the show, which is fair because he's largely absent in the book up until this moment. But I think I don't know. I love Ciarán Hinds. He's a phenomenal actor. Julius Caesar on Rome, can't beat that. I don't know that even when it was announced, I didn't think that the actor really fit the character. And I don't think that they've done a great job with it. And I was really excited for tonight to maybe get some of Mance's perspective and kind of see behind the lines on the Wildling army and maybe get a little bit more of his personality and a little bit more of what he's got in store. But I guess we have to wait for next week for that. So if there's one thing that I feel was missing was that perspective with the Wildlings. And I think it would be nice to have a little bit more acquaintance with the enemy that Jon is up against. Somebody who's supposed to be this really were the adversary. I really wish that we had a little bit more of a face on it, and I think that they could have been doing a better job with Mance Rayder.
I also feel like we could have seen somebody saying at some point, whether it's Sam, whether it's Maester Aemon, hey, let's send a raven to Winterfell, anywhere. We need some help up here.
Right.
Could we get some reinforcements?
If the Watch had done that.
Yes, if somebody had done that, even before in the days coming of, like, we may need some help up here. Like, I know that, everybody is taxed from everything with the War of the Five Kings, and I get it. But it doesn't mean, I feel like they should be, like, at least sounding the alarm a little bit.
Well, that's what Maester Aemon does at the end of Season 3, right? He sends out those ravens because Sam has come back and said there's White Walkers north of the wall.
Yeah, but he does that. Hey, we got another problem.
He could have he could have sent out a follow-up. Hey, guys, this is me, it's Aemon again. Just wondering if you got my raven from before. Now there's some more problems, and we really appreciate you coming up here, or at least, replying would be great.
Yeah,
don't ignore us.
Yeah. Okay. This is from KT Rigoni, who wants to know, wouldn't it have been easier to just scale the wall at one of the forts that was unprotected, or did Jon somehow lure them there? I forget the lies that Jon Snow told them. Actually, he told them that there was like 1,000 men at Castle Black, right? Something crazy like that?
Yeah, he told them that they had a lot of people.
Yeah. Seems like a mistake to attack at Castle Black, right? But I guess he told them all the forts were manned, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was saying Night's Watch is pretty healthy. And, the Wildlings, they don't know any better.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is from Timothy Kyle Tucker. Has Sam earned some respect from you guys tonight? Wouldn't we all have stayed with Gilly? Well, basically, I probably would have. Probably Josh, too, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, and
me go out there and fight? Come on.
Yes. And look, Sam, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. That Sam is now officially 3 times the man I am, and that's not a fat joke.
I appreciate that, Rob, and I appreciate the clarification about the weight jokes.
Yes, that was not. Sam is much braver than I am.
You've been very hard on me, and Josh could stand to lose a few pounds as well.
Oh, come on, Sam. Leave my friend Josh alone, Sam.
It's all right. I've been really hard on him. He can say what he wants.
Josh, in 2014, I've had to turn around on Carol on The Walking Dead. I've had to turn around on Sansa last week. I had to turn around on Sam this week. Up is down, down is up. I don't even know who I am anymore.
Mass hysteria.
Yeah. It's a bizarre world.
Dogs and cats living together.
The whole system's breaking down.
Yeah, you're eating crow, bro.
Yeah, I am eating crow, and not like the Thens do. Ice cream for you and me. Great screen name. Who'd survive Ghost versus a mammoth? Who you got, Ghost or the mammoth?
The mammoth.
I've got Ghost. Mammoth scares easily.
Yeah, the mammoth just has to step on Ghost and it's done.
Okay, but Ghost is just bite its neck and rip its jugular out.
I don't know. I don't think that's. I don't know. I feel like even Ghost is awesome, but that's going to be hard to get up there. It's going to be hard to cause a fatal wound if you're a dire wolf against a mammoth, I think.
Okay. Michelle Pratt wants to know, what does Jon think he's going to do beyond the wall without his bastard sword or Ghost? It's a good question.
Yeah,
we've talked about this earlier.
He gives Longclaw over to Sam and just goes out there unarmed. Yeah, we're questioning the plan.
We are questioning the plan. It's not a good plan. I think that I guess for him to say, hey, I'm still with you guys is probably the best thing that we've come up with. But I have a feeling that's not going to be Jon Snow's MO here.
Right. He could have it would be cool if he had I don't know, a bomb vest and he just blew up the Wildling camp.
Like Homeland?
Yeah, but I don't think that's in the cards.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is from
Brody.
Kazman 5656. What do you think is going to happen to Janos Slynt now that he has showed himself to be a coward?
Yeah, what do you think, Rob? What's the next step for this guy?
Well, if it was better times, I think we might have to cut his head off.
The next step is he has to clean out his underwear.
That's probably the next step.
That's the immediate thing.
I think he makes it, but I wonder if
he certainly made it.
When Alliser Thorne finds out about this, he's going to be pissed.
Yeah, but I feel like Janos Slynn is he'll try and smooth that over now. Alistair Thorne is enough of a jerk that he's still gonna be buddies with Janos Slynn.
Yeah, Janos is going to be like, hey, Alistair Thorne, did you hear what Jon Snow said about you? He said that you're not even that great a commander. He's like, what? What did he say? Ah, Jon Snow. So you probably can talk his way out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, a couple more questions here on Game of Thrones Live. Mega Moose, 1989. Why did Ygritte stop Tormund telling why he is husband of bears?
Yeah, I wanted to know more.
Hey, that's a fair point. I would want to hear more about that. Hopefully HBO has some special features where we have more of Tormund Giantsbane talking about having sex with bears.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Did the bear like it? That's probably my biggest question.
I don't know. We'd need somebody who can speak bear. Maybe Tony Vlachos. Does he speak bear in addition to Wanda?
I don't know because I'm more impressed if the bear didn't like it. I feel like if the bear liked it, then that seems easier than if the bear didn't like it.
Right. Well, we know that this show is not going to be afraid to cross those lines.
Like, was it a hibernating bear? Because then I have a little. I feel like that crosses some boundaries.
And he just like slept through it?
Yeah. That's a date rape in my book.
That's a date rape.
Yeah. Not cool if it was a hibernating bear, Tormund. Not cool.
Definitely not.
Okay. This is from Spicy Wasabi X. You know nothing, Josh Snow. Sam
Totally
became
true.
a man in this episode. He had a Rose and Jack scene with Gilly and had some heroic moments. Does this change your opinion of Sam? Yes, we covered this.
I'm so happy to hear it.
You don't think the bear was sort of in like a Winnie the Pooh type scenario where he was sort of stuck in between a tree?
Oh, and like really couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Do you think that Tormund just like lathers up
in honey
trees and honey, and then just like hides behind a tree and waits for a bear to get stuck?
Yeah, I think so. That would be dangerous. That would be a dangerous way to do it.
That's a punk move.
Yeah, that would be a punk move. Spice. This is from Kate Will. Wants to know, did you all see the person in a robe run by in the dark near the Wildlings fire? It seemed like it happened intentionally. I was wondering who it could have been. Your thoughts? Well, that was Gilly.
Yeah, I think we established it was Gilly. But the way they shot it was really confusing. I had no idea what they were doing there. Just looked very, very weird.
Gilly, is that you?
Gilly.
Sorry.
What?
Luke Forrest says, is it possible that Maester Aemon was the person whom Lady Olenna was referring when she told Marjorie that she was supposed to marry a Targaryen? Whoa. Oh,
yeah.
maybe. Well, now we're getting somewhere.
Now that is connecting things, Luke Forrest. Good job.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I like that.
And especially when you talk about how she was so hot. I think that could definitely be the case.
Yeah, I'm on that. I'm all over that.
There you go. And it's a good thing that Maester Aemon has lost his sight, because he would that the memory is probably going to be better than the current picture.
He'll take what he can get.
Take what he can get. All right. So many good questions tonight. Jake Elliott says, mad props for the Ghostbusters reference on the day of its exact 30th year anniversary. Was that an accident, or are you both just that good, or both? Well, it was totally an accident on my part, but I know Josh is the Ghostbusters Lothario.
I love Ghostbusters.
Are you excited when they're going to release it again?
Oh my God, I'm very excited. Very much looking forward to checking that out. I think we might be able to talk a little bit about that on post-show recaps down the line.
They're not going and like redoing the special effects or anything, sort of like a Star Wars special edition, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. You don't want them to do that, right? You don't want to make it
No.
I
don't want them to make Ghostbusters 3. I don't want them to touch this franchise. Put it back in theaters, that's fine, but don't do anything else.
Okay.
Let it be.
All right. Natalie Kuchik wants to know, Game of Thrones is the most watched HBO series. Why is it only 10 episodes a season? Sopranos, True Blood, Boardwalk Empire, etc. All of that, at least 12 episodes a season. Do you think it will ever increase? Well, I think this is a budget thing. We've talked about this a little bit. You seem to think that they're going to extend the seasons going forward to try to get everything in there, right?
My guess is if they really do want to do 7 seasons, then they will do kind of what Breaking Bad and Mad Men did and have done with their final seasons, which is split the final season into 2 separate years of the final season. Just call it season 7A and season 7B and air it in 2017 and 2018. I think that those seasons could be both 10 episode seasons, and you could have a final season that's like 20 episodes. I don't think that they're going to expand it much beyond the 10 just because of the budget. It's such a hard show to make for so many reasons that I really don't think that they can afford to do it.
What did you think of the news this week that potentially Game of Thrones might wrap up in a series of feature films? Does that excite you as a fan of the show, or does that feel like that is going to be a very drawn-out and potentially precarious option for us fans?
That rumor has kicked around for a while. First off, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think some sort of Game of Thrones movies are possible that are flashbacks to things that we don't get to see on the show.
Directed by J.J. Abrams sometime down the road?
Almost certainly. I think that's possible. I don't think that I would almost completely rule out the fact that they will end the show with movies. It would be a very schlocky way to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I would not be thrilled with the 6 seasons and a movie option for Game of Thrones.
No, that's not a good call.
Yeah, that doesn't end well. Okay. I think we have 2 more questions. Baronisa, anyone else think that Mance looks like a medieval Spock? Did you think that was medieval Spock traveling back in time?
That's actually pretty funny. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, I could see it. All right, and one more question here. This is from Towns on Film. Wants to know, do you think that Sam will betray his Night's Watch vows for Gilly in the future? Well, let me handle that because Josh knows a little bit more about how this is going to pan out. And I will say, yeah, Sam's in a tough spot here because he kind of needs Jon Snow to come back and be in charge of the Night's Watch so Jon Snow can say, all right, Sam, you're free, and go and let him go and be off. If it's Alliser Thorne that is back in charge, I feel like he's not going to see eye to eye with Sam on the whole you can go off with Gilly idea.
Yeah. I think either way, we know that Sam is ready and willing to bend the rules.
Boom.
So he will find the loophole.
He's going to find a loophole. Okay.
He's going to find something. Yeah.
Good for Sam. Yeah.
Great for Sam.
He's a man. He's a man. He's a man.
It was my bar mitzvah today.
Whoa. Congratulations to Sam. All right.
Thank you.
All right, so lots of fun here tonight. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to talk about as the week develops here with Game of Thrones. Josh, do you have any inkling yet when you're going to do the book club?
Sometime on Tuesday. Not sure what time. I'll have to talk with Terry, but we will definitely be doing it. Terry Schwartz and I will be talking about this episode, and we're talking about some other theories as well that were not from this episode, but some fun stuff that's worth talking about. So if you guys if you've read the books, if you're interested in joining us for book club, and if you want to talk about all sorts of topics from the books, tweet them at Terry_Schwartz at Round Howard. We will field them and talk about them on book club this week. Kind of an open forum this week.
All right, and then also as we get ready for the finale of Season 4, next Sunday night, we also will have our Game of Thrones feedback show, which should be up for you guys on Thursday as well. You can get your questions in postshowrecaps.com/feedback or postshowrecaps.com/voicemail for our voicemail hotline. And, of course, if you're not locked in yet, please subscribe and make sure you don't miss anything. This is going to be a huge, huge week in Game of Thrones. So on our YouTube channel, you can subscribe anytime. Postshowrecaps.com/YouTube to join us live, and that's where we'll be around 10:25 or so on next Sunday night after the finale. That should be our most watched podcast of the year, I would think. And then also for the iTunes feed, in the iTunes store, you can subscribe at postshowrecaps.com/GOT iTunes, and of course on postshowrecaps.com. All right, Josh. Anything else that we left out tonight?
No, I think we did a good job covering this one.
By the way, Josh and I will be back on Monday night for 24 Live, continuing coverage of the saga of Jack Bauer in 24 Live Another Day. That kicks off 10:15 p.m. Eastern on postshowrecaps.com. And also, we've got coverage of Orange is the New Black with Jessica Leese and Taylor Cotter are covering Season 2 of Orange is the New Black as well on postshowrecaps.com. So a lot going on, and hope you guys check it out. Have a great week, everybody. Can't wait to talk about the finale next Sunday night, and hope you guys enjoyed our coverage. If you enjoyed the show and you're watching us on YouTube, we love it when you give us a thumbs up if you appreciated the show. And until next time, everybody, we'll talk to you again soon.